When David Crane became the Dean of Architecture at Rice University in 1972, he saw a problem. Houston was fixated on expansion, but hardly anyone discussed publicly what was being built, what ought to be built, or what the city as a whole should be. There should be a way, he thought, to encourage that discussion. Crane's idea turned into the Rice Design Alliance, one of the university's first community outreach organizations. RDA, which turns 40 next year, began as a group of academics and architects that sponsored public forums and lectures and addressed significant yet under-discussed questions. Could the bayous be recovered as ecosystems and public amenities? Could the city's neglected parks become more vibrant? What mass transit strategies make the most sense? The overarching goal is to empower individuals and communities to shape an even better city. The most visible of RDA's successes have come from design competitions. The first, in 1985, attracted 119 entries from across the country and resulted in a design for the birthplace of Houston, Sesquicentennial Park, along Buffalo Bayou. Now, along banks that once were ignored and disconnected from the city, joggers and paddlers are a common sight. In 1992, Houston's Park and Recreation Department and the Friends of Herman Park joined RDA to sponsor the Heart of the Park competition, which led to a master plan and major improvements to the city's premier urban park. The water features and landscape spaces now on display at Herman Park are a far cry from the dilapidation of yesteryear. In 2007, participants in RDA's annual design charrette were challenged to design a bridge for Memorial Park. The winning design, the Living Bridge, dedicated in 2009, provides safer pedestrian movement through the park. The following year, the 99K House competition drew 182 entries for the design of an energy-efficient 1,400 square foot house in Houston's historic Fifth Ward. The home, completed in 2009, serves as a prototype of quality-designed, affordable, and sustainable housing. RDA's efforts extend to other areas as well. Since 1977, RDA has featured lectures by some of the world's brightest and often most controversial architects and critics. Presented in the Museum of Fine Arts Houston's Brown Auditorium, the programs often draw overflow crowds. RDA's Fall 2010 lecture series, Material World, brought material scientists from across the United States to speak about innovative and cutting-edge uses and practices of materials in the built environment. Speakers addressed various topics, ranging from what green buildings and materials really consist of and how they fare throughout their life cycles, to how different materials are chosen for a particular project, and how materials function both aesthetically and practically. RDA's Spring 2011 lecture series, New Orleans 5 Years After, focused on reconstruction efforts in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, and featured architects and community leaders who are working on revitalization projects. In 1978, RDA began offering architectural tours of houses, engaging large number of visitors, many of whom have had little to no exposure to architect-designed homes. Last spring's tour featured the neighborhood of Southgate, a 1930s planned community near Rice University and the Texas Medical Center, two Houston institutions that are expanding substantially. Southgate is undergoing considerable change, yet it's retained its close-knit community feel. Tour-goers were able to see where architects and designers working in the neighborhood have successfully integrated their designs into the older fabric while staying within the neighborhood's strict deed restrictions. In 1982, RDA began publishing Site, the Architecture and Design Review of Houston. 85 issues later, the mix of high design and down-and-dirty civic engagement remains vital. The current issue on fabrication looks at the city's thriving manufacturing base and asks how its full potential can be realized. Site also has an online blog, offsite.org, and its archives are freely accessed at sitemag.org. Rice Design Alliance has contributed to an improved quality of life in Houston, but the chase is far from over. The city still defies description, much less planning, and the discussion that David Crane imagined nearly 40 years ago have only just begun. Moving forward, RDA hopes to maintain its current momentum, creating the same quality, innovative programming for which the organization is so well respected.